Hey, thank you very much. Good day, our listeners, our viewers. Welcome to Studio 84 Business Chronicles, where we get to host our friends, in Studio 84 to have random conversations about life, about business. This segment is called Business Chronicles, and we are at Studio 84. It's a podcast studio here in Bugolobi. Lithuli Avenue in Kampala, Uganda. Today, this morning, morning, afternoon, anyway, it's morning somewhere in the world, hosting an interesting lady. She has a young lady, she has quite a profile. She's doing interesting things. She has lived quite a life. I'll ask her to introduce herself. Patience, very good to have you host you on Studio 84 today.
Thank you, Solomon. Thank you, Studio 84. Patience Muhangi, a seasoned businesswoman who has been in business for the last 20 years, and the terrain has been changing. And by the time I meet Solomon, I am in another shift of business. Why is it a shift? Because every 5 years I've realized, I don't know if it's because of the political terrain that usually shifts, not with the leaders, but somehow there is a shift that usually comes to business people. I am based downtown, and our downtown business is kind of attached to politics,
Yes.
and politics usually attached to the taxes. And when taxation comes in, you find that our business or the businesses that we have downtown they work together with the political terrain, which actually of late is affecting the taxation of the country. Seasoned businesswoman, I've been in supermarkets.
Oh,
Yes, I've run a supermarket. I have been in shuttles. I've run taxis on Entebbe Road, a woman on Entebbe Road. Currently, I'm in bus transport. You see me here, I know all the bus spare parts. I even know the prices. Solomon, if you come and tell me the diff is broken, I'll
you
tell
said,
you.
let's see.
I'll tell you the last time it got broken, even how much we bought it, and how long it should be taking us. If it's a second hand, I know its duration in the bus.
I will start from there, Patience. You definitely did not go to school to learn mechanics and the diff and all those parts.
Not at all.
Briefly, what was the journey like for you to get to that point where you know so much detail about bus transport?
2018, there was a shift in my life.
Yeah.
It was a major shakeup for me, and I had to sit on the table and I see where are the stakes that are high. And the bus transport, which was one of our businesses, a family business, was where I would see that the stakes are high if I don't apportion a lot of time.
Yeah.
So I decided to sit downtown daily, where if you see me, I don't look like them.
No, you don't.
But I made sure that I try looking like them. That means my clothes had to change. My way of thinking had to change. I had to come down to the level of those people who are working in the bus, who didn't go to school, and on top of that, get relationships with them.
Yes.
Because somehow now as I speak, they are my spies downtown, because they will tell me so many dynamics of a bus. But I had to get my diary, I had to get my notebook, and I start learning a bus. How did I didn't start asking, this spare part is called this or this. But when the mechanics would come, I remember they would come in my office at around 11 to tell me how the buses were on the road the previous night and during the day. I would make sure that whatever spare part they are mentioning, I am writing. And whatever price they are mentioning, I'm writing. That when they come back in the next 2 months and they tell me the same, I'll say,
To your notes.
no, you remember what you said here? You remember the price you quoted? And finally, as the year ended, I got to know that now I know. I know how to run a bus. I know the stages. If you asked me, I know all the stages of Kabarore. I know all the stages of Kamwenje. I know all the stages of Fort Poto. I know all the stages of the Western region because I decided I'm going to learn bus transport. Now, when people tell me, now I'm laid back after the 3 years, my first 3 dairies are full of spare parts and they are full of the shops and the prices
Yes.
and their durations.
Patience, before we go, were you involved in that business deeply before the 2018 shakeup? Because I'm trying to visualize how you shift from whatever you are deeply involved in to say, now let me get into this life. How was that transition?
The transition was I lost a husband.
Yeah.
That was the major shakeup, who had run the buses for over 20-something years. Actually, it's close to 30-something. But because it was downtown and as I was, when you're in corporate life,
Yes.
you don't want to dirten yourself.
Yes.
So I was not interested. But when 2018 came and all of a sudden I was the next person to make a decision
Yes.
in the company, which is Horizon Coaches company, I was like, there is no way I'm going to make a decision on something that I don't know. So I decided I'm going to be sitting there from morning up to evening. The good thing is that I thought I had gone to manage, managing or, direct a business. I didn't know that I was going to learn a bus transport. Now, when it came to relationships, I also got to know that for people to work for you, they have to know that you care. Now, I had to make sure that I go deep down to relating to them. When they would tell me about actually I would ask about their families. I was one person that they would tell me, we have been lacking a lady leader in this place, because I would ask them about their families, about their children, what is going on in their lives besides the upkeep. Because for downtown business, they have to go home with money. They are casual laborers. Downtown, we don't wait for end of month. No. Everyone has to go away with money every day. Whether it's a boss, whether it's a director, you go away with money. They don't believe, or we don't believe in end of month.
No.
What I learned, another thing from downtown, those people are planners. They didn't go to school. They don't have mathematics, a lot of mathematics. They don't think long term, but they will come and give you advice, which someone who has gone, I think, to the best universities in the world
MBA and all that stuff
can never give you.
Patience. I feel like the easier choice for you after your dear husband passes away would have been to sell the business, sell the buses, stick to your corporate, stick to the life that you know. What drove your decision? I feel like this is an off-the-record session.
I'm ready for every question you have.
What drove you to decide to learn new things, get out of your comfort zone? Was it to preserve his legacy? Did you just want to prove a point? I can do this. What drove you to get out of your comfort zone and preserve and get into this business?
One, I knew that change had happened.
Yes.
Actually, I didn't know that you need mastery in change.
Change management specialist.
Change mastery.
Oh.
Yes. So immediately, that was 2018 ending, 2019 comes, and around that time, by the way, our downtown business is so political that they are even godfathers.
Yes.
There is a route that you will never, including the route that same route that we have managed for over 30 years.
Yes.
You don't just bring a bus, you don't just go to the bond or you order a bus and then you bring it tomorrow and you get on the road.
And
they
even when
see
you've been there 30 years, you can lose it.
you
just like that.
cannot do that. So people think you just get some money and then you go on the route. You will not operate. So when he passed on, now I found out that you have to have godfathers.
Yeah.
And me, because of my faith, I didn't believe in any other head apart from God. So people would come and they're like, come to my office to see who is this woman who is not leaving this space to come and be in these meetings with us. Yes. And then who, by the way, currently who is the godfather of this company?
Yes.
Actually, my late husband was a godfather of some
the other
roots.
guys.
So now they are expecting me to also come and
to fill his
around,
shoes
fill
all the
his
way.
shoes, but also now because of my position to look for godfathers.
Yes.
So people would come, including our current competitors. They would come, sit in my office, and then they would say, using the local language, they would ask me, they're like, we want to team with you, and then we work together on this route, and we see how we can work with you, because, but because of my relationship with God, I would know what they are up to. Now, there is actually one who is doing very well. I think currently he's number one, leading on our route. He came and asked and had the audacity to ask in our same parking. By the way, there you are doing so well when you have your own bus park.
Yeah.
So came and told me that I want, after we had opened a new route, even when the owner of the company previously had left, was like, we can see you're opening this route. We had opened it. We want also to come, once you have filled your buses, we also come and take over.
Left,
but for him, he was looking at our financial muscle. He was already seeing, now if I come, I study all the areas that they are getting passengers. Me, I'm going to come and bring a fleet of about 20.
Yes.
And of course, they will not be waiting for the small fleets that they have. And by the way, they will be new. Everyone, because this stage is for a certain route and certain villages. And then they will be coming and entering his buses. And then as much as we are there, they are waiting. Because buses also have time schedules. You don't just fill a bus and then it just goes. It has a timing. It should be leaving. Yes. And it should be on the route according to your schedules and how you were given a route. So all these dynamics people don't know.
So they wanted to muscle you out.
They wanted to muscle. So me, I sat on my desk. I would tell them, no, we are going to do what we have been doing. But when you know who you are, your identity, you're not moved by whichever muscle comes. You're not I have the blessing from God. There is no way you can do everything, but I will remain victorious. So
God was your guide from the beginning. You knew you could do anything. How has that experience, Patience, late 2008, 2009, and I believe 2020, shaped your thinking and looking at things and your legacy, life after you in business and things like that? Has it shaped your way of doing things in your family and business to groom people who will come after you easily? How has that shaped you?
Number one, I usually say every generation is supposed to be better than the other.
Yes.
In my life, I have learned that there are always shifts and there is a season of everything. And I've always told them, we might be here, yes, running after a certain legacy, but let us be sensitive. What does God want in this season for us? It could have been for a season and it could be over.
Yes.
If we feel and we see, because when a season is over, the grace is over. You start struggling.
Yes.
If we reach to that end, I'll tell you this season has ended. But if we see, because also you will feel it, that there is continuity, the grace will be sufficient in whatever problem that you will encounter. The grace will be sufficient in this bus transport. Well, when it comes to legacy, I've told my children that, number one, you have to first prove that this thing is what God created you for. Yes, I believe in legacy so much, but I also believe that God is the one who began this company. And he knows the people or the children or every relationships that are in concerning, right from the one who started it to the children, grandchildren, relatives. He knows which part we are to play in the company. At this point, if one of my child, surprisingly, they're all taking business courses in matters like, God, I see legacy.
The grace is still
The grace
sufficient.
is sufficient. I see legacy because how come everyone, even whom you thought would take, all of a sudden is like, me, I'm doing a business course, business and something. And so I see business in our family, in the next generation. But if there is one actually who even came and told me that I want to do transport. He's doing chain supply. And was like, I see myself transport, but in trucks. I was like, I see, because I already have a relative who is doing trucks. So, but you have to show along the way, we have to see that this DNA is in you, and that is where your interest is. It is not a matter of grooming, getting someone a child, and you're like, you are going to do this. It is not supposed to be like that, which actually I've seen some families do, but they short circuit along the way. You rather get professionals, they come and manage
the day-to-day
yes, the
operation.
business, yes, the business, and then when that interest is there, and then you see someone is professionally being groomed, because if someone is into business, is studying business, if it coincides with transport, that person is supposed to be in. But if they're doing some other things altogether, and you just bring them because it's legacy, I also don't believe in that.
Wow.
But I've also told the younger generation, I've also told them that it should be kingdom business. If God has given this camp to us as a blessing, and he's expecting us to partner with him. So, like father, like son. It might not be bus specifically, but even that bus has a group.
Yes.
Yeah, it has birthed some other businesses in town. We're into real estate, we are into tree planting, we are into other things. It's not specifically that it is the bus business. But if this same horizon that is trying to diversify its business interests, we can see you in them. Still, that's legacy. You don't have to sit on the bus, but even on but even what it is, it is diversifying. If we see the interest, that is why you come in. Otherwise, bring in professionals and consultants to come and run the business.
Wow, Patience. Now, Patience, you have really lived a life. I also know you're very passionate about mentoring women, young women, old women, also women from all sorts of life.
Yeah.
You have this organization, Visioned Women. Tell us about Visioned Women and what it's about, and why you felt it was important to go down that road.
Initially, I didn't know that I was supposed to speak into people's lives. But when I was growing up, somehow it was me who was giving the speeches. You know, when you have a visitor and your father calls you, Patience, come and say a vote of thanks to our visitor. When we used to have like group meetings or class meetings, somehow I would volunteer to be the one giving a vote of thanks, or I would say, let us say something, to the person. And even when I was growing up, I remember I used to look up to Oprah. I used to have when I got some money, I started buying monthly Oprah magazines. I have so many.
Oh,
that even
the all magazines.
They were all magazines, monthly, and they were expensive. But somehow I would get the money for that.
Yes.
When I was growing, and I would, admire her. I'm like, this African lady who has decided to stand in for the girl child who has decided to be our mentor, to speak on our behalf. Moreover, in her setup, an African American woman, and she is a mogul, and she's an icon, and she even influences politics.
Wow.
So I used to look up to her. But now, fast forward, in 20, I get born again in 2006, and when I got born again, I felt it in me that most in my position and maybe the people I was surrounded with, I found out that many women actually they loved Christ, they were born again, but because of their environment, the families they're coming from, the religions that they have been engraved in, what will my husband's family, my children, we go to this, this is how we live, or we go to this church, now see, I don't want to be the odd man out. So me, I stood my ground. And I'm like, you women, if you're born again, you be born again. And make a radical shift. And by the way, go sound trumpets and tell the people that I've accepted Christ, and this is how Christ wants me to live, and this is what I'm going to do. So I broke out according to the circles. I remember I was even given days because I had a naughty teenage life. So they gave me days.
Like this one, this one that we know.
Including my husband.
Choker Charles, even him.
Yeah, he gave me days, he gave me months, they gave me until they were like, this lady is serious. So I started hosting fellowships, and they were full of ladies. But I had a problem with the way our generation was, and because I had known Christ, I knew that how we were living is not it. So I wanted our children and also our grandchildren, the next generation, to live a better life and also to know Christ, so that we have a legacy of God-fearing people, which is for the nation. And I knew that that's where life was. So I started hosting women fellowships. And because of the popularity, the people would come. Actually, I closed it last year. Because I was going into ministry, church ministry. And for 10 years. And I remember I would come and influence the ladies in there. I would tell them, look, we have our own visions. Now, we are praying for the children's visions. Where are yours? We are scared that our children should not turn out the way we turned out, or we know now the truth. Since we are born again and we are Bible readers, we know God's vision, because God's vision is His word for us. And now we were concentrating on the children's part.
Yes.
So ours was missing.
Yes.
So that's how I was like, okay, now, as we are scared that our children should not turn out the way they have, the way, the world has shaped the other children, even us,
You were losing yourself.
we are losing ourselves.
Yeah.
So I decided now to concentrate on the women. So 2019, every year I have sabbaticals. I actually leave town. And I get 10 days. I began with 13 to 15, but now I've scaled them to 10 days because of the workload in my life. And I asked God, I'm like, God, what do you want me to do next year? And He was very clear. He told me, Patience, you even have the guts to get 10 days off and even to leave town. And even you have the guts, you're here asking me with your pen and book, and you're writing me, what am I going to do next year? And I usually say concerning this. But I had gone to a Bible college called Charis Bible College, and they teach purpose.
Yeah.
They teach
Amazing
purpose.
school,
Yeah. And he told me, I took you to Bible college. What you have learned from there, I want you to go and teach it to women, but in the area of vision, so that they have a vision for their lives. And of course, he was also trying to tell me that you have stood through the terrain of life that has not been good.
Yeah.
At some point, someone even asked me, "Are Are you a lawyer? Actually, some people think I'm a lawyer.
Because the things you've been through,
And even the circles that I'm
you've
in.
mastered the law.
And even the circles that I'm in. And even when someone is talking, like the way I can, you know,
Yeah.
like I have my data, I have my.
You know how
The
it is like when you nurse a patient for long, you kind of
yes.
master the medicine. And
So
all
I'll
that.
tell you, when you start telling me something, I will tell you this is the outcome. You know, and I will actually give you facts why it is going to be the outcome. So God was specifically telling me, go and teach these women vision, because Patience, clearly you are a visionary. Clearly you are a visionary. And he told me I asked him, how am I going to do it? And he told me a certain number. But when I would tell my friends, this is what I know God has called me to vision women, and he was very specific. Tell them what you do. How do you vision your life? Because I'm organized, and I had lived that life of vision, and had achieved results.
Yes.
And everyone was like, you, how do you do it? With the terrain of life,
Yes.
you know, it doesn't seem fair. But the way you are as if it's fair until you tell someone their story and they're like, but the results don't look like the
Don't look
person
like-
who has been
yes.
through this. So God told me it's because I was visionary, and I was walking through the principles of how vision should be walked through. So I gathered the lady. I would tell my friends, my village mates, and they were so excited about vision because people have not started planning for their lives. They think things just fall in place. They don't know that there is work to do, there is a process to do, there is a village you attract when you're walking in the right steps and doing the right thing. They don't know how the universe, actually I tell people, you just
Aligns for
walk in vision, and the village of your universe, whether someone is coming from Arctic, you know, wherever Arctic, you know, will come and align for your purpose, for that vision, if you're walking in it. It does not matter where the person is, but the person will show up. So I knew that it was going to be, God had told me a certain number, but when I would tell someone would say, I'm going to call my friend, my sister, my cousin, my what. So it became big. I even went ahead and got a big room. But along the way, a few days too, they all cancelled until the number. The number. The specific number he told me is the one that showed up in the room.
Wow.
Now, I was like, God, you know how to confirm.
Feel
That's how
good.
I started Vision Women's Hub. And it has, those ladies that entered that room, their lives changed. They all have testimonies. Actually, they came up saying, did you know? Did you know that this is what I was waiting? It has come at the right time. And after 1 year, they all have testimonies that we can go and touch and see. But people don't know that concept of vision, of someone having a vision. And everybody has, you have a vision, you have to have a vision until you die. And I tell people I'm surrounded by visionaries that actually my mother-in-law actually is building a hospital, and she's 87.
Wow. Building a
A
hospital.
hospital in her small township.
Yes.
When you go, she will give you a budget for the equipment she needs in the
hospital.
That means she is living beyond her.
Yes.
That's vision.
And everyone needs that to keep going above.
If she was not visionary, by this time she would have died.
Yes, she would have.
So I tell people that vision has no age. That's why when you have a vision, number one, you will have definitely you have a sense of direction, you have a sense of clarity, you have a sense of purpose, and you are not swayed by everything that is on the table. And even the people around you, you're not swayed. The most good thing that I love about vision, it attracts your tribe you're supposed to live with in life.
Yes.
And that tribe that you're supposed to live in life are people that are going to be, they make sure they advance you every other stage of your life. And because that is why you were created for that. But that vision is not supposed to be for you, your children, your spouse and your children. Actually, when someone comes and brings me a proposal and I see my house, my husband, my children, my wife, I'm like, you're so short-sighted. I'm looking for something bigger than you.
Mercy.
Yes, I'm looking for something bigger because I'm a vision coach. When I'll come and I'll look for that one because I'm like, those are a given.
I'm guessing that's the brutal truth we're all looking for when we are looking for a coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, because everyone needs that person in life who tells them the things they don't want to hear. And sometimes it takes being deliberate and intentional to look for people. Sometimes tell the people around you, I want you to tell me the things that no one else will tell me. I'm ready to listen. I also have observed that many people who self destruct or lose their way in life, leaders or otherwise, have surrounded themselves, or maybe not intentionally, but are surrounded by people who won't tell them the things they don't want to hear, and that's the beginning of the end. Patience, what inspires you? I know that the tsunami in your life, 2018, around that period, inspired you to do things you wouldn't have done ordinarily.
yes.
What else inspires you apart from God? Is there a specific book or, an experience, a person?
Yes. I'm inspired by, I have a verse that I want to live to, that all things are possible if you believe. That one has inspired me. It has made me always sit on the edge. Actually, when I'm not on the edge, I'm like, this is too comfortable. I'm leading nowhere.
Yeah.
So I'm inspired by all things are possible, meaning that I've decided to get out of the boat and walk on water. What I know, I'll not drown. That one I know. And when I'm on the edge, I know I'm not falling down in the pitch or in the deep.
Yeah.
I know that I'm going for greater and better things. They are not in the comfort zone, not at all. That is even when I wake up early in the morning, the first word that comes out of my mouth is, with God, all things are possible. Actually, I know that all things are possible. That one, even in my office, when someone says, there's this problem now, I'm like, no, come, let's look for solutions. There's a solution for every problem.
Madame Echote Chisovoka. That one is not there.
And they know that, she's going to tell us, Madam, techisoboka. I'm like, are you sure? Ogambani? Techisoboka? Luwachi techisoboka? Then I'll sit you. Surprisingly, I make them. Do you know solutions are in them?
Yes, they
when after telling them that, no, tuja kufuna ekyokukola. And then I'm like, obadde, I usually ask, they are going to say, Madam ajja kutubuuza, obadde oteesa otya?
Exactly.
Kati when you say obadde oteesa otya, in most cases, they come when they have solutions, but they think, people do not believe in what they have to offer.
Yes.
So they don't know that they have the solutions. But it's about putting those solutions on the table, and it will work.
Because it has to come from, they have to believe in the solution.
Yeah.
I like to tell my people that, don't come to me with problems and no possible solutions. Patience, thank you very much for your time. Our conversation could go on and dive deeper into every aspect of life that we've talked about you. But I know we'll dive into this much deeper on every level. So thank you. I pray a blessing upon your plans with the Visioned Women Hub.
Thank you.
And the family business that transport your children as they grow. Oh gosh, we didn't even talk about parenting. That's a whole different thing. But
Yes.
when you return sometime.
Thank
Anything
you for
else you want to
hosting.
say to our visitors and listeners, viewers and listeners before you go?
Thank you for listening to me. And I know you were supposed to be hearing this. I believe it's timely. And my parting shot is all things are possible. Just go in, you will not die. Actually, you will be better than you were. Get off the fence, looking on the side to see, be the one to dive in first, the rest will follow.
If I said anything more, I would spoil it. Thank you very much, Patience. Our viewers and listeners, see you on the next episode of Business Chronicles. Patience Muhangi has been our guest today, and God bless.